Let's build two buttons to show and hide the text. By the end of this lesson, you will understand how using events and on-click method help to manipulate HTML elements. Now, if you look at the buttons on the screen, what do you think is going to happen? Let's find out. So if I click on hide text, what do you think is going to happen? I know you're already guessing that this should hide text, which is the exact behavior that is expected. And if we click on the other one, which is show text, this should also show the text as an expected behavior. So let's try it and see what happens. Hide text, this will hide the text, and when I click on the second button, show text, then it will bring the text back. We will do this in 4 steps. Don't worry if you are a beginner. The first step is to select the elements. The second step is to access the CSS property of the element. The first step is to change the CSS property of the element. The fourth step is to trigger the change or display it, either through interaction or immediate results. Let us build the two buttons together. So here's my boilerplate code, and I've added comments into the part where I want us to add the real code that will give us the button that we need for us. So I will start from here. This place says add a paragraph with an ID P1. So I'll go ahead and make a paragraph. And the paragraph is going to have an ID of P1. Then inside this paragraph, I will add some random thing like this is a text. This is a text. This is a text. I will repeat this 2 more times. This is a text. This is a text. Ideally, you can also put it on one line, but because of space constraint, that's why I'm putting it on a new line. And you can see the output. This is a text. This is a text. Now, here, I want to add 2 input elements because in this lesson, we are not making use of JavaScript. What I'm saying is that we are not writing JavaScript separately inside the script stack. So we use the on-click method in order to be able to select the ID from this paragraph that we have here and then use it to manipulate the paragraph element that we have to get the desired output. So I'll go ahead here and put the input type is button. I want button as our input type, and I want it to have an ID to look better. So I'll put an ID of PTA. I already have style for the button, so it will just pop up with the design. And then the value that I want inside this button is hide text. Now, on click, which is a property, document.getElement by ID. And what is the ID that I'm trying to get? The ID is P1. So this is the ID of the paragraph that I want to manipulate. And then I want to access the style property of the element as well as the visibility property of that same element. Now I have this. Now I can make the other input but as well. Input type equals to button ID btn. Then the value show text. and the on-click property document.get element by ID P1 dot style dot visibility equals visible. And now we have our two buttons. But before I click on any of these buttons, I quickly want to explain what we did here. Now you can see we added two input elements with this on-click property that you can see. And through this on-click property, there is a method here through which you were able to access the style as the property and the visibility also as the property of the element that we have here that we want to change its style. Now, if you ask me, you might want to say, what exactly is the on-click that we have here? Now, I want to quickly point out that the on-click that we have here is a property. And in JavaScript, we have property and we have method. Now, the difference between the two is that property store a values you assign to it, while method perform an action, and you can call it with an opening and closing bracket. You can see that there's an opening bracket and a closing bracket. Now, if it uses this bracket that you can see, if it uses an opening and closing bracket, it's a method. But if it uses equals to, like what you have here, then it is a property. Now, the style.visibility that we have here is a property of this paragraph that we are trying to manipulate. And the document.getElement by ID is a method because of this opening and closing bracket. So that is the difference between what a property is and what method is in JavaScript. Now that we have our input buttons ready, now let's just move on and see the output of what we have here on the screen. So I'll click on the first button and this hides the text. And if I click on the second button, this will show the text that has been hidden back. So this is how you can use the on-click property of an element to either hide or show the text that it has, just as we were able to use the visibility property of the P element in order to hide and show the text that it contains. The key takeaways from this lesson are these. Changing CSS is the action. Events are what cause the action to happen, just like the on-click event, which means that when we click on the button, then there was a reaction. That is an example of an event, and that caused the change that we expected from the elements.